Okay, hi there. So this is my Articulate Rise 360 sample scenario. So when you first get onto Articulate Rise, it's going to have this main screen, but it's going to offer you template options. You're more than welcome to choose that, whatever is fitting for the circumstance. But for this situation, I just chose a blank scenario. I titled it In My Shoes, Jordan's Story. So then here is our whole scenario lesson down here, and we're going to click on Edit Content. And then it's going to take us to this screen and we're going to click on the top left corner, the pencil where it says content. And then here we have a better layout of our content order and our lesson plan. So this is my main screen right here. This is the beginning of my lesson. I titled it Morning Decision. So I edited the background by going to edit and then I searched content library and then I just searched up like a classroom and then I chose classroom setting and then I did the same for the character as well. I went to edit and then I just chose one of these characters. I chose Deshaun right here. So then automatically it's gonna take us, well, if we go in preview mode, here it's gonna have continue. So then it's gonna take us to our dialogue. So it's gonna be in 1.1. So here we have in my shoes, and then the scene description. You are Jordan, a 16-year-old navigating school, peer pressure, and challenges at home. Your choices will shape what happens next. So this is our first scenario within the scene. It's going to give you the option right here where it says go to. You can go to next in scene. You can go to new content, which is going to be a new scene, or you can just end the scenario. But since we want to just go to our next scene, where it's going to be our decision-making scene, we're going to choose just next in scene. So here's a preview of that. If we were to go from the beginning, we click continue. Jordan's dialogue is I barely slept last night. Things at home were loud again. I'm already late. Great. My phone's blowing up. My friends are skipping class and want me to meet them. So this is Jordan speaking. The learner can choose continue next. And then now this is where it gets interactive, where the learner can decide what to do. So as we click to our next scene, here's 1.2. This was Jordan's dialogue up here. And on the top right corner, also just a side note, you can choose the text to either be like a text bubble or a dialogue of someone speaking. In this case, since Jordan is speaking, I chose dialogue. So going to our decision-making scene, now this is where learners can get interactive with it. So what do you do? So we have our responses down here. The learner can choose for Jordan to skip school and meet your friends, but then we have our decision feedback down here. So if a learner were to choose that, it would result in at least I won't have to deal with school today, but now I'm even further behind. The learner can choose go to school but avoid everyone, and the feedback would be I made it to school, but I don't want to talk to anyone. I feel off all day. Or their learner could choose go to class even though you feel exhausted, but the feedback would be, this is hard, but at least I showed up. Maybe I can still get through the day. So which with each of these decisions, you have the option down here to either go to the next scene, again, choose new content and scenario, or you can choose try again. So the learner is going to have the option to try again until they have chosen the correct response. So just a preview of this. So what do you do? Say the learner chooses skip school and meet your friends. Here we have our feedback, and then that's not necessarily the best choice for someone to do. So we're gonna have try again down here, and then they can go back to this 1.3 screen and choose what to do. Go to school but avoid everyone. And then here we have our feedback. That's not necessarily the best choice again. So we have try again. And then finally go to class even though you feel exhausted. And then we have our feedback here. So since that's the correct answer, then we're gonna allow the learner to have the choice to continue on to the next screen, which is the end of that specific scenario. So right here, once the learner chooses the correct response, we're going to go to next in scene, which is going to be our end scenario right here. But then again, with that go-to option, so we can choose to end everything or again go to the next scenario. But since we're going to jump into our classroom moment, we're going to go to next in scenario. So now it's the interaction with the teacher instead of the student. So again, I edited the background by typing in classroom on search content library, and then I just found the best fitting character, which was this one right here. I selected her. And then you click on continue in the preview screen, and then it'll take you to our first decision-making process for students. So let's just take a look at the preview. So this is Jordan's situation. So continue right here. Now we have the professor. So the professor's dialogue is you walk into class late, the teacher looks at you, nice of you to finally show up. She's obviously flustered, and I'll show you where you can choose the different emotions and reactions of the characters in a second. But again, here we have our decision-making process where learners can be interactive and decide what response Jordan should give the teacher. So, with that emotional, the emotion and the character that you can adjust, here is it right here. So it says talking. I just have her under talking. You can choose worried, confused, stressed, thinking, just depending on the situation and what's being said. The description of this is Jordan arrives late to class and experiences a negative interaction with the teacher, requiring a response. So here's our responses. The learner can choose snap back, saying, "Why do you care?" The feedback would be, "Now it's a whole situation, things escalate, and you feel even more on edge." They can choose to stay quiet and sit down, but the feedback would be, "You avoid making it worse, but you still feel embarrassed and shut down." Or they can choose to walk out of class. You leave to avoid the situation. Now you're marked absent again. And then again, we have the choices here where the learner can choose to try again or go to the next scene. The learner can on the same one for the third option, but the correct response in this scenario is to stay quiet and sit down. And the feedback would be you avoid making it worse, but you still feel embarrassed and shut down. So this is just like an example scene. It's wouldn't necessarily fully be fully complete, but this is just an example of how to use it and how to go about it and be interactive with the learners. Here's our go to class option and then continue. So this is the professor. And then these are the responses, the feedback options. And then this would be the best response and continue. And then that's the end of the scenario. Personally, I felt like this one was a little bit more straightforward and quicker to use compared to your scenario. But yeah, that's everything.